Let's make history. You still have people trying to paint pieces on trains here in New York City. Every now and then one or two slip through the cracks, but essentially graffiti has been permanently removed from trains for almost 3 decades now. It happened back in the late 80s when Mayor Koch implemented a system which graffiti writers called the buff. And that was, they wouldn't let any train leave the train yard and go into service without entering this car wash type of machine, which would wash it clean, completely removing all graffiti, hence the term the buff. And it was successful. But what happened in the graffiti movement was it fueled the aspect of the graffiti writer, which was always there. Check out my video on the history of graffiti if you haven't already. But you have graffiti artists who paint these elaborate interlocking letters in their murals. Those are graffiti artists with the characters. Graffiti writer is just someone who writes a stylistic version of their signature as many places as possible. Two totally different mindsets. So removing graffiti permanently off the trains left a vacancy within the graffiti movement.
Graffiti was ending on trains and kids were looking for places to paint.
And this hunger was fed by graffiti writers. And this is when I came upon the scene in around 89. I started writing graffiti during that same era. And you had people like the brothers, the duo Smith and Sane. I remember my boy Ezo, who was my mentor. He was doing a piece for Sane when he passed. Sane was riding on the Brooklyn Bridge. He did one side, he went to do the other side, fell off, and he passed away. R.I.P. Sane. His brother Smith still remained active. You had J.A., you had Brim, who just had like the Bruckner just destroyed. You had Astro, Bester, Jaws, R.I.P. Jaws, Easy, Josh 5. I wrote Blood, Tops Crew, TOPS, along with my partner Brat. We were mostly in Harlem and the Bronx. And it was just a different mindset.
When you painted a train, that train will travel your artwork for you. You didn't have to go to certain areas for people to see your art, because people like the 80s guys and stuff like that, and 70s writers, they never focused on streets really, you know, like it was just trains.
Except for like
the wall writers.
Well, Jaws and Easy. You know,
yeah, Jaws and Easy were like,
and,
and TK too.
Tripe and stuff like that. Yeah, the whole crew. Yeah.
So they were like, you know, hitting the all city, you know, with the tags and stuff.
AS2 or some shit. Like, yeah, those guys are everywhere.
And then V for 2 started doing a lot, but like it was a big transition, because you had to like, now the trains are clean, so now like to be all city, you had to go to places like the South Bronx or, you know, Harlem, you know, where in the 90s those were dangerous high crime areas just in itself. And then like graffiti at that time too, when it started being all city, like each neighborhood or area had a crew, and that's when New York City still had a sense of community, meaning like each neighborhood had like a feeling, you know what I mean? Like if you went to Harlem, like you felt like you were in Harlem. If you went to East New York, you felt like you were in East New York. If you went to Forest Hills, Queens, you felt, you know, like everything. Nowadays it's all meshed together, kind of like hipsters kind of made it like into like, you know, you can go to any neighborhood kind of, you know, there's still like pockets of, you know, sketchy areas, but not like it used to be. And then, you know, being young, you know, like in our low teens and stuff, like it's the time that no one really talks about, that transition of like the trains to the streets, you know, and the streets becoming the main focal point.